Guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a fun one because we are watching a throwback and reacting to a video that I posted over 3 years ago, and it's called 5 Things I Hate About Amazon FBA. So let me just say, at the time that this video was being recorded, I was about a year into my Amazon journey. I have not watched the video since it was uploaded. It's actually on private now, so this is the only place that you'll be able to see it. And I'm gonna let you know if I still agree with the 5 things that I apparently hate, or if my opinion has changed now that I've done this for 4 years. I'm clearing over 7 figures a year on Amazon. I just kind of want to see if I feel the same way or if things have changed now that I am more seasoned as a seller. So if you're interested in finding out, keep on watching. If you do like the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to my channel. As you can see from the title, we're going to be doing a little bit of ranting today as we talk about the most annoying things about selling on Amazon in my humble opinion. I am so thankful to be able to do Amazon full-time and have it be my full-time job and be able to sustain myself off of what I make from Amazon. But at the same time, there are those things that just bother me, and I definitely want to just tell you guys so that I can show you that it's really just like any other business, and it's not all peaches and cream and rainbows and Lambos. Like, not rainbows and Lambos. A little bit of shade to, y'all know, the gurus that be doing the whole Lambo thing. There's nothing wrong with buying a Lambo, by the way. I just think that we've all kind of seen the ads, and sometimes it's a little bit much. It's a little bit much, that's all I'm saying. A lot of sellers will have you believe, or I should say gurus will have you believe. So there are things that are annoying and frustrating about the business, so I want to be as real as possible and let you guys know what I feel that those are. I do think that there is this misconception and this perception of selling online or having your own e-commerce business. People think that you literally do nothing all day long and you didn't really work hard to get what you have. And I mean, I still feel this way, where sometimes people think that I do absolutely nothing. To be fair, I don't do a lot on the daily basis, so I guess I can't really be mad at people for maybe not understanding what goes into the maintenance of my Amazon business. So if you've heard me talk about it before, I usually spend anywhere between 3 and 4 hours a week keeping up my Amazon business. The things that I'm normally doing as I'm maintaining it are checking on customer inquiries. If anyone sends me a message, I will obviously reorder inventory as needed. I always try to optimize my listings. Maybe I switch around the photos, but that's obviously not going to be an everyday thing. And so that's why there's not very much work that goes into it. Once your products are up and running and are ranked on the first page, you really get to just kind of sit back a bit more. And that's what makes the business more passive than anything else, is the fact that it kind of can operate on its own. Since Amazon is doing the deliveries for you, you don't have to worry about the fulfillment aspect of it. And then, you know, you really just focus on building the brand. But once you have a brand that you're satisfied with and you're not launching new products, you're really just in maintenance mode when it comes to your business. Understand where people are coming from. If you do this the right way, there is huge potential for it to be largely passive for you, meaning you're only spending a few hours a week maintaining your business and keeping up with it. Of course, if you want to grow and expand your business, that's going to require more time. But if you're just looking for a business that you can kind of put on autopilot and still make $1,000 a month or whatever, this is definitely doable. I just don't still agree. You can definitely have this be more on autopilot and make $1,000 a month. I do think that sometimes there's this perception that $1,000 a month is just completely unrealistic, unattainable on Amazon, which is not the case. It's probably more possible now even than it was back then, because Amazon is growing year over year. There's more customers, there's more traffic, Amazon becomes a bigger and bigger brand, and so that does make it so that there are more customers in general, so that's just more money to be had. So definitely still agree with that, but I think I was going to put a but here, so let's hear it. Appreciate when people make it seem like you can grow your business to $1 million a year working 3 hours a week. It doesn't make sense. So here, the call is coming from inside the house, because not me working 3 to 4 hours a week making $1 million a year. But you know what? I'm glad that I'm doing this, and I'm not going to edit that part out, because it's real. You know, in the beginning, you don't know what's possible. I didn't know anyone at that time who was making 7 figures on Amazon. So my perspective was that it's just not possible. And you all might be watching this video thinking it's not possible to do this. And I mean, the proof is in the pudding. I really literally thought the same exact thing according to this video, which is so funny that I used that specific example because that's literally the position that I'm in now 3 years later. So you never know what's possible when you start doing something. And it just also kind of goes to show that the people who are more critical of this business or maybe don't understand or are doubtful of whether it works or not, a lot of it just comes from ignorance. And in this video, I just didn't know the magnitude of where my business would grow to. I had no clue. So this is very funny, but let's keep on going. Here is the real deal about the things that I find the most annoying about selling on Amazon. And you guys, if you're a seller yourself, let me know if you agree or if there's something else that I'm missing from this video. While you're here, please hit the subscribe button for more Amazon FBA content. So without further ado, here are the top 5 worst things about selling on Amazon. Number 1 thing is the fees. I just hate it. So if you are a seller on Amazon or you are interested in still the number 1 worst thing is the fees. I mean, nobody wants to pay fees. Let's be real. If you are selling $10,000 worth of product, you want to be able to keep the 10K, right? You don't want to have to pay out Amazon for doing the fulfillment. You don't want to have to pay the Amazon fee. You don't want to have to pay for ads, but it's just the simple fact of running a business, right? There's going to be expenses that you're going to have to pay for. You have to spend money to make money. That being said, though, your fees on Amazon are largely dependent on the product that you sell, the size of the product, the weight of the product. Those will have an impact on your pick and pack fees or your shipping fees that Amazon will charge you. So you can do yourself a service. Do people say do yourself a service? Instead of doing yourself a disservice. Yeah, opposite of a disservice is a service. Anyway, you're doing yourself a favor when you pick products that are small in size and lightweight, because that will then in turn impact your Amazon fees so that they are as low as possible. Selling on Amazon, I'm sure you've seen screenshots of the monthly income that people are making from Amazon. Most of the time what you're seeing is their kind of sales summary for the last 7 days, 30 days, lifetime, or whatever, and it'll show you what the revenue for that is, and it'll show you a graph. When you see that, it's really exciting because you're thinking that, you know, you're going to be able to make $100,000 a month. While that might be true that you're technically making that in revenue, that's not exactly what you're getting in your bank account due to all of the fees on Amazon. So if you're still true. So revenue is not profit. And that's kind of the point that I was making here, which is why whenever I talk about my numbers on Amazon, I always include what my profit margins are so that you all know what is actually being made out of that very beautiful, large, shiny number. So for example, on an average month, I'll do about $160,000 in sales on Amazon. I wish I could keep it all. I can't. My normal profit margins are right around 34%. So it's a percentage of the total amount that I'm making that I'm actually getting paid out from Amazon. And that's what I'm describing here. In my course, you already know the breakdown of all the different costs, but for those who aren't, just a quick overview on Amazon. If you're doing Amazon FBA, they are taking a portion of every single sale for them to be able to pick and pack your products. So when somebody places an order, the process that it takes for them to find your products, package your products, send it and ship it to your customer, and all of that, they take a fee out of that. So that's the pick and pack fee. And then you also have your monthly storage fees. If you are a new seller, make sure you pick something that's small and light so you're not paying period. Still small away. But yeah, I just talked about the pick and pack fee and then also the storage fee. And then next I'm going to talk about the referral fee, I believe. Too much in shipping and in storage, because if you have a giant product, your fees are going to be astronomical. And if you don't have good profit margins, you are going to be really sad. So the fees are definitely annoying just because every day when you see how much money you're making, it's a constant reminder that Amazon is taking a nice little chunk of your money. But at the end of the day, you're going to have fees with any business. If you were to have your own online store where you sent it out yourself, you would still have to account for the time it takes for you to go to the post office, postage, all of that extra stuff. So at the end of the day, it all does come out to probably a similar price, and you get the advantage of not having to bother with it, but it's still very annoying and very frustrating. Correct. So if you were to sell on any other platform, you're going to have fees, just like selling on Shopify or Etsy or Big Cartel or whatever platform you decide to use. So Amazon is not unique in the sense that you have to pay them fees to sell on the platform. But one thing I think I didn't really touch on here is the benefit that you get from selling on Amazon. So, I mean, I know this is more of like a ranty video, but you are paying the fees, but you're also getting kind of that extra boost in traffic for your products because you're not making your own website, you're listing your product on Amazon's website. So all of the people who shop on Amazon on a daily basis, millions and millions of people, are going to see your product who otherwise may not be able to find your product, right? If you're selling on your own website, you're going to have to create your own ads, you're going to have to do Facebook ads, Google ads, and you're going to have to drive your own traffic. Versus Amazon, yes, you pay them a fee, but they are essentially referring you or opening you up to all of their millions of customers. So in my opinion, if you're going to pay the fee, you might as well get something in return. And I do think that Amazon is worth it for the simple fact that the customers who want your product are already on the platform and they're already searching for the product. So you're already like 80% of the way there because they want it, and you're not having to convince someone to need your product. They already need it, they want it. You just have to get them to want yours out of, you know, everyone else who's selling the product. So I think that that's easier to do than trying to convince someone from Google or Facebook that they need your product. So that is one of the reasons that even though, yes, the fees are annoying, I've just learned to live with it because at the end of the day, I'm still making great money. And, you know, you have to, it's a little bit of a give and take. Every business, you spend some, you make some. And as long as you can balance it out and be in the green at the end of the day, I think, you know, it can be worth it. For anyone who's already a seller and for the members in my Amazon FBA team Facebook resource group, I've talked about the upcoming changes to some of the fees in February 2020, so really just around the corner. They're going to be adding a whole bunch of new, they're not adding a whole bunch of new fees. They're just increasing some of the fees slightly and decreasing a few of them slightly as well. So you have to remember that you are using Amazon's platform, and so they have the power to change the fees at any time. Amazon does increase the fees. I would say honestly annually they do a bit of an increase. Normally it's not anything dramatic, like they're not going to increase it by $5 or anything like that, but they can increase the fees. I would say anywhere between like on the low end 5 cents all the way up to close to $1 at the most, but it's not going to be a drastic jump. I do think that this has to do with inflation. Obviously, Amazon's a business. They're going to try to make as much money as they can. Let's just be real. And so those fees come, but I do think what helps to cushion the impact of increasing fees is making sure that you're giving yourself enough room when you order your products, right? So do the math, do your homework, and make sure that you're giving yourself a nice cushion after your expenses and after your fees, after your cost of buying the product. Make sure that you have at least $5 left over. That way, if Amazon increases their fees by 5 cents, 10 cents, a quarter, 50 cents, whatever, it's not the end of your business. If you're only making $1 off of each one that you sell and suddenly Amazon increases the fees by 50 cents, now you're only making 50 cents. That's like literally half of your profit. And so that's going to be a lot more of a problem for you versus having a bigger cushion to deal with. Imagine if you're making $10 off of each unit, 50 cents increase is not going to ruin you. It's not going to hurt you. You probably won't even really feel it for real. So the more cushion you have, the more wiggle room you have for when Amazon, you know, does their yearly fee increase. And again, most other platforms will increase their fees regularly as well. Most of the time they do like to give a good amount of notice just so sellers can know that things are going to change, and then you can adjust accordingly. But for this upcoming change in February, it's really just small amounts for storage, small amounts for pick and pack. So it's nothing that's very significant. And the good news is if you haven't started selling on Amazon yet, you won't know what the difference is. All that being said, these are annoying, which we didn't have them, but we do. Yo, it is what it is, you know what I mean? But that is true. If you haven't sold on Amazon before, you don't know the difference. So it's really only affects existing sellers when they increase the fees. If you're yet to start your Amazon business, the fees are just going to be what they are. You wouldn't have known that they used to be $4.50 and now they're $5. Like, you would have no clue. So don't overstress the things that you can't change. Amazon's a business. They're going to do what they need to do, and you just act accordingly. So you make sure that you have enough room to account for extra fees. And remember, you can always increase your pricing if the market allows for that. And that can kind of pass the burden of the fee increase onto the customer instead of you having to take the hit. And it's okay, because at the end of the day, we're still going to be making money, you know? Okay, the second most annoying thing is that you are at Amazon's mercy. And I've actually talked to a lot of sellers or people who are new to the business who are extremely paranoid about this. Just kind of the idea that Amazon really has the power to do anything to your account. So imagine you have put... Yes, this is something that is still a very, very common concern, I would say, whenever I am talking to someone who is new to Amazon selling or new to e-commerce in general. When they are, you know, kind of talking about what is scaring them or what's holding them back, it's just the fear of, you know, what if Amazon takes my account, or what if I'm suspended? What if I'm shut down? What happens then? And the truth of the matter is, yes, you're selling on Amazon, so you have to play by Amazon's rules, which is annoying. But at the end of the day, Amazon's only reason for taking your account down would be if you do something that breaks their rules. So play by the rules and you don't have anything to worry about. So, you know, I get the anxiety around it, but you can't be overly paranoid to the point where you never sell on Amazon because you're worried about, what if my account gets taken down? Anything can happen at any time. So just do what you're supposed to do. Follow their terms of service and you should be fine. But like $5,000 into inventory and then Amazon, for some reason, suspend your account, you're going to panic because you have a lot of money kind of tied up into your business and into your account. Don't worry, I'm not saying this to scare you. It does happen sometimes, but most of the time that's if you haven't given them the documentation that they need, or if you've like violated someone's patent or something like that, things that we are not going to do, so don't worry. But, you know, there's always that small chance that Amazon could suspend you for some reason, and that's not a good feeling as a business owner to not have complete control over what goes on with your business. But that being said, I mean, if your business is on Instagram and Instagram just shuts down one day, then, you know, you're out of luck as well. So I think that there is risk with any business that you do. It's just kind of scary to know that that's a thing. Along with that, I also don't love that. Yeah. Facts. That's all I can say. Business is dependent on reviews. So if you guys shop on Amazon a lot, you probably notice, or maybe it's even subconscious for you, but you tend to gravitate towards products with better reviews. And I've had so many weird situations where customers have literally loved the product and have given me a bad review. Here's an example. I just launched a new product at the end of December, and I did the early reviewer program, which is where you pay Amazon $60 and they basically solicit customers to leave you a review in exchange for like a $3 gift card. The customer doesn't know that they're going to be given any type of incentive, so they are just honest. They're just leaving you a regular review. Why did I have this lady leave? The early reviewer program has been phased out, so this is not something that you can do anymore. The only thing that is comparable to the early reviewer program is something called the Vine program. And Vine is only available for, well, they were testing it out for a bigger audience, but for a long time it was just for sellers who were brand registered, and brand registry is something that you can apply for with Amazon. It gives you extra perks, and one of the perks was the Vine program. And so you could essentially pay to have reviewers look at your product. However, with the Vine program, they can be very, very critical of the products that you send. So you want to always be careful if you're utilizing the Vine program, because you could essentially be paying for bad reviews on your products. And you might have seen the little Vine icon or the Vine status on a review. And if you do see that, just know that they are being incentivized essentially to leave the review. What they're getting is the product for free. I don't believe that they're getting any monetary compensation, but they are getting the product itself for free. Leave me a review. And it wasn't like long, she just said love it. But then she gave me 3 stars. Why did I say that? I was so salty. I was so annoyed. It was my very first early reviewer program review. So they give you 5 for the $60. So honestly, it's worth it for 5 reviews. But at the end of the day, I was just like so confused as to why she said she loved it and then left me 3 stars. And that's the kind of thing that annoys me, because you never really know why a customer is leaving you that review unless they say it in the actual comment, and sometimes it just doesn't make sense, like in that situation. Whatever, it's fine. The product still has 4.7 stars or something like that based off of all the other reviews, but it just annoyed me because I paid for a 3-star. So while we're talking about reviews, something else that I hate is that a lot of times it feels like Amazon is making changes for no reason. Like, I've only been on Amazon really for a year, and in that time, there have been some changes where I'm just like not understanding why they're doing it. They've gotten a lot more strict when Still true. Like, Amazon has recently just changed their guidelines around storage, like how they assign how much storage space you can have. They be changing it for no reason, okay? They used to do it by the number of units, then they started to do it by volume. It's just like, I'm sure that there's a lot of research that is done before they make a big change like that. I'm sure they're not just waking up and saying like, we're just gonna change this for no reason. Amazon is very data driven. So maybe it makes sense, but when you're on the seller side, it just seems like they're just changing things for the sake of changing it. They changed their interface. They've, done other things over time, and a lot of them just seem pointless, if I'm being honest. So this has definitely not changed in the last 3 years. When it comes to reviews in general, if you guys have been shopping on Amazon for a long time, back in the day they didn't really monitor the reviews that closely. So sellers could incentivize people to buy their product, so they could just give them the product for free in exchange for a review. And so a lot of times the reviews would be like manipulated in some ways, because obviously if someone's getting something for free, they're more likely to leave a 5-star review. So Amazon cut all of that stuff. They deleted a whole bunch of people's reviews because it just didn't look authentic. People who wanted real feedback had to like sift through all of the, I got this in exchange for free product. No one really liked it. So Amazon got rid of that. What's really annoying is recently, I think it was in October or November, they changed product reviews from reviews to ratings. So the reason they did this was to... I forgot that they did this so long ago. Like, when I very first started selling on Amazon, they didn't have ratings. It was just reviews. So your reviews on your listing would be comments, right? Like, people would have to write out why they were leaving a 1-star or whatever. But then they implemented this like rating system where people could just leave the stars without having to leave comments. And I think that they did that more so to just get more people to leave some form of feedback by telling you basically if they liked it or didn't like it based off of the stars, without forcing them to have to leave a comment. And it definitely increased the amount of feedback that I got as a seller at that time, because people are lazy and they don't want to have to write why they like it or don't like it. They just want to be able to do something easy. But I totally forgot. Yeah, they did this about 3 years ago. Make it easier to get feedback from customers. So, and I agree with it to an extent, because I know personally if I buy something off of Amazon, I'm not going to usually leave a whole review. But I will leave it like 5 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars, if that's an option. That never used to be an option before, but Amazon recently added that. So instead of having to write a product review, customers can just leave a rating instead of doing a review. It was just annoying to like one day wake up and see that the change was made. They didn't tell anyone that was happening, but in my experience, I've gotten way more feedback with ratings than I have with customer reviews. And it just goes to show that people don't have time and they don't really care enough to write a whole review, but they will tell you, basically how they felt about the product without using words and just using the stars instead. The fourth thing that I hate about Amazon, or maybe this is more of a personal problem, it probably is, but I just feel like there's this constant itch to make more money. So let me explain. The fourth thing that I hate about Amazon, or maybe this is more of a personal problem, it probably is, but I just feel like there's this constant itch to make more money. So that is so real, okay? The constant itch to make more money. Still relatable, still feel that 100%. But I will say that at a certain point, and I really think this was after I had my first $100,000 month, like a 6-figure sales month, that's when I was like, okay, you freaking made it. You know what I mean? At a certain point, you have to start to, I guess, just be a little bit more content, unless you have these very, very intense goals to, hit 8 figures or whatever. And of course, that would be great. That would be nice. But I personally am happy with where I'm at right now in my business. And it feels really good to be able to say that, honestly, because always kind of striving for the next thing can be exciting, but it almost prevents you from being able to enjoy the journey because you're constantly just trying to get to the finish line. And so I am happy with where I'm at right now. Of course, I'm not going to complain if I make more money, but I'm not actively trying to scale at this moment. I've got a toddler. I've been traveling, just really enjoying my life and the fruits of my labor. So I don't go over the top, but I will say up until the point where I made my first 6 figures, which was in December of, was it 2022? This past year, December 2022 or December 2021. I think it was December 2021 where I had my first 6-figure month. And that was a very big deal. But again, it was kind of like a I made it moment. So since then, I've just been kind of chilling. But up until then, I was, very, very intense about I've got to make X amount of sales. I need to improve my profitability. This is how I'm going to get to that next step.
Let me explain. So when you understand how Amazon works and you kind of get what the formula is, which is basically what I teach in the course, is how to make it so you can repeat the steps. Because the idea is not to find one product that makes you $1 million a year, because it's risky. You have all of your eggs in one basket, right? So if something were to happen to that product or to happen to the market, you would go from $1 million to $0, and nobody wants to take that type of a risk.
Still true, and that's why I sell 6 different products on Amazon. I guess theoretically could just cut it all down to one, and even with one, my lowest selling product, I would still be able to live off of that if I wanted to and if I had to. But I like to diversify so that way if anything happens to one of my products, it doesn't impact my business too drastically. So I'm impressed that I knew that this early on in the journey.
What you do want is to have a couple of different products that you can kind of rely on, so that if you have a bad month for one product, the other one kind of picks up the slack, if that makes sense. So to me, I would rather have 10 products that do $1,000 a month than have one product that does $10,000 a month. That way I have a little bit more stability, and even though, it may be a little bit more annoying to keep up with 10 different products, it just, for me personally, would help me feel better about my business, just to know that if for some reason something happens to one, I don't lose all of my income. So once you kind of understand how the whole thing works and you realize that it's really not that hard to find a product that can make $1,000 a month, you just kind of want to keep doing it. You're just like, what products can I add and how can I scale and make more money?
My first year, I launched my first 2 products and they both failed miserably. I lost $5,000 with the first, over $2,000 with the second, and the third product was my first winning product. In 2019, when I first launched my business, I only sold that third product through the rest of the year, and I didn't add on any new products until 2020. And so from the moment that I added on that 4th product, I just was scaling like crazy. I was launching new products left and right. Over the course of my last 4 years selling on Amazon, I've sold 12 different products, and I currently only sell the 6 right now. So I've gone through my phases of selling some products that maybe just didn't do the numbers I wanted, or maybe I realized that the market was getting saturated. Maybe I just didn't feel like it went with my overall brand anymore or my vision for the brand anymore, so they were phased out, and I've just kept my 6 best-selling products. So that's kind of the way that I have scaled. I've just kind of tested some things out and gotten rid of the ones that just weren't doing what they were supposed to do and kept the best-selling ones, and that's where I am today.
And it's a good thing because you know how to do it, but also it can kind of hurt you in certain ways, because I'll get a product and I'm like already thinking about the next product. And sometimes that hurts me because I'm not giving the current product the attention and the love that it needs to really like flourish. And I'm just kind of looking for the next the next best thing, So while it is good to have lots of products, just keep in mind that the more different products you have, the more time you're probably going to spend, because you have to keep up with all of them.
It's like shiny object syndrome. You pick a product and you're so happy about it, so excited about it, you launch it, and then you're already thinking about what's the next product you're going to launch. And even sometimes you don't even have the chance to launch the product before you're thinking about the next one. Like I've had times where I've placed a deposit, the products are being made, I'm doing my research, and I'm like, ooh, I want to sell that one next. So you're always just kind of looking ahead. And I think that that's healthy, especially when you're growing your business.
And just knowing that you could have a potentially great product. Like I could have a product that has the potential to do $10,000 a month, but because I'm not caring enough about it and not giving it the right amount of love, I'm missing out on an opportunity and it's only making $2,000 a month. So you have to find a good balance of quantity and quality of products. You don't want to just have a bunch of really bad products. Just because you can make $500 a month with a product doesn't mean that it's necessarily worth your time. I hope that makes sense.
I still agree with that. It's not always going to be worth it, but that's going to depend on the person. Someone might be perfectly happy to make $500 a month with a product. For me personally, that wouldn't be worth it, but everyone's different and you grow in business. So certain things that make you happy or that satisfy you early on might not do it for you later on. And you have the freedom to be able to change your mind and kind of phase things out if they no longer serve you in your business.
And last but not least, the last thing that I hate about Amazon is the competition along with the paranoia of like the bubble bursting. I don't know, like I feel this way about a lot of different things. For example, I felt this way about social media for a long time, which is why I personally could not have my whole business be social media related. You know, like I don't think that I could be, well, I don't know, because it hasn't happened to me, but I don't know if I could just be a full-time YouTuber or a full-time Instagrammer, because
still not a full-time YouTuber or a full-time Instagrammer. This is still true. I just wouldn't want to only have one stream of income. So just like how I sell on Amazon, I've got a paid program and digital products that I sell. I do some consulting, you know, I have different streams of income and money coming in from multiple sources. And I do, you know, sometimes think that Amazon sellers can get very, very pigeonholed almost into Amazon selling, that they forget that the goal is to have multiple streams of income, right? You want to be able to not only be making money from Amazon, but also real estate and also stocks and dividends and all this other stuff. It's just that Amazon is really great when you're starting out because it gives you that benefit of cash flow. And lots of these other options and ways of making money do require upfront capital. And so I think that Amazon is definitely a good jumping off point. That's basically how I've built all of my wealth, which sounds insane, but you know, being able to own homes and being able to have these impressive portfolios and all of this, you know, very fancy stuff has only been made possible because I was able to put the money I was making from Amazon into these different businesses and investments.
You never know when that thing is gonna like die down or die out, you know what I mean? And so I get paranoid because I'm like, I don't know, like Amazon's great, I'm making money, like this is awesome, I work from home. But then there's always that thought in the back of my mind of like, you know, anything can happen and what if I can't do this anymore? What will I do then? Luckily for me, I've been able to kind of dip my toes into some other different types of businesses, I guess, but Amazon is still my main like bread and butter, so I think about it a lot, and it's not really something that you can kind of get over, I think, unless you...
That's funny that I was worried about this 3 years ago because my business has only grown like exponentially since I made this video. And honestly, if I think back on it, and there's obviously no way we would have known about the big thing that happened in 2020 that shut everything down. I'm not going to say the word, but y'all know what I'm talking about. There's no way that we could have known that that was going to happen. And, you know, even when that happened, my Amazon business thrived and honestly grew exponentially during that time. And so I've just, since that has all happened, I don't spend my time worrying about what happens if Amazon's gone tomorrow. Anything can happen at any time, so I'm gonna ride it for as long as I can. I'm not worried about it, and I do think that once again, that is the importance of diversifying your income.
You own your own like manufacturing and your own everything, your own website. It's hard to not have that fear. I'm also an anxious person in general, so again, this might just be all in my head. I don't know if other like Amazon sellers feel this way, but sometimes I just wonder if it'll all come crashing down at some point, which I'm sure that it will. Honestly, nothing good lasts forever, but I'm gonna ride it out while I can. I don't think it'll happen anytime soon. I'm just saying, like, you know, years and years and years into the future, nobody knows what's gonna happen. I said all this, and I know that it probably doesn't make you feel like, oh, I want to run out and start an Amazon business. I'm not saying this to discourage you from that. Nothing I talk about on this channel is to tell you not to do it. I mean, for me, I 100% think that you should go for it and you should give it a try. You'll never know if you'll be good at it unless you actually try it out. I'm just kind of saying this again because I want to be as transparent as I can, be with you guys and just be real and give you a different face of Amazon FBA as a business, because I know there are so many people who already talk about all of the great things and the benefits and they get to travel. Here's my man Chen in Atlanta. It's like, it's a real business at the end of the day, and there are things that you need to be aware of. So again, I don't want to discourage you. Still, if you're interested in Amazon, go for it. Know that it's going to be a lot of work, but it will be completely worth it for the freedom that you're going to have and the money that you're going to get. So if you found this video,
amen. So I pretty much agree with everything. That's very interesting how this video aged very well, honestly. I don't have it on my channel anymore because I felt like the audio wasn't on point and the background just wasn't giving. But the content of it, the meat and potatoes of the video, is still very much relevant. I could probably think of some other things, but if I think about what is like most annoying about Amazon, it really is these things I listed in this video: the fees, the, selling on Amazon's platform and having to conform to whatever rules they put in place, whatever changes they make. But aside from that, knowing everything that I know now, I am so glad that I stuck with it. I'm so glad that I continue to sell on Amazon, because now that I'm older, I'm a mom, like so much has changed in my life. I can recognize the blessing that it is to be able to have this business and to be able to make this kind of money at my age, and just the freedom to raise my son and travel and spend as much time with my family as I want is a huge blessing. And so I'm very appreciative of that. And despite all of the negative, not even negative, but just kind of the real aspects of selling on Amazon, I would 100% do everything the same way. I would make the same mistakes, even though it cost me money. I learned the best lessons and I can pass them on to you guys. So I think it all happened for a reason. So that wraps up today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I appreciate you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.